Looks like we're ready to get started.
I mean, it takes a lot of energy to make sure that you're getting everybody down there. Looks like everybody is in positions now. Everybody's all sitting in their chairs. See back off in the drop, you can see everybody's just kind of chilling out. Anticipation starting to mount at this stage. I know Twitch chat, they probably got a little bit of anticipation. I know we went into game for just a second and then had an issue, came back. Trust me, we were just with it as well because we almost had that moment where we had Shroud coming in on a fight in the first minute. So with this, we are in game, Moses. Look at this. Plane is up and active, going over Sandhawk, so let's see where everybody goes.
All right, so with this plane path, there's going to be a lot of flexibility for those to get all across the map. So the one thing that we're going to be looking for is, are there going to be those hot spots? We've already seen a little bit of a preview. I don't know if boot camp is going to be as hot as we saw in the region yesterday, but for now, it looks like I wonder, Matcham, do you think that they're going to play conservative this first game?
I think it all comes down to individual players. We saw a lot of passive play coming in the first games of yesterday and kind of continued the theme. But I think that these guys are a little bit more active. Specifically, we've been talking about that there's a lot of pro players inside of here. There's a lot of big names. Naturally, we've got Shroud that's going to be playing in with Justin. We've got some Call of Duty pros that are going to be coming inside here with, we got Karma playing in it. I mean, I think that it's just, I don't think it's going to be allowed to be quiet this time around.
Yeah, at this stage, it looks like we're going to have a few people going to that boot camp area. It's Mythrain, his partner there as well. And there is that Skipino as well, so that's going to be a bit of a battle there for the boot camp area. Two very, very popular streamers in their respective regions, Mythrain being from Spain, Skipino from Latin America. And that's going to be a bit of, well, it looks like they got some space between them.
I mean, boot camp is enough to where you can kind of separate out, get your loot, get a little bit of information. But you can see the Pav is playing around that central point, where at some point he's probably going to make his way up to that upper balcony or the upper roof area, get a little bit more information, make some plays based off of it. Mythrain, and I believe that's 10,000 days or is that 100,000 days? All those zeros back in.
So many days.
All right, but now we're back over at Paradise Resort, and you can see a little bit of a skirmish coming over here. Looks like Shroud's found himself in a little bit of action.
So Shroud already found himself the most rare attachment in the early game, and that's a nice hollow sight, trying to get these things going. You know, the weapons are easy to find, armor not so bad, but those little attachments, those grips, that kind of stuff, all the things you need to be very effective in the early game, a little bit harder to come by.
Oh, yeah, already making sure to go and get the meds, get everything inside there. Actually, popping back over here, looks like full separation now coming into effect. They have the entirety of Resort to themselves.
I just saw that.
Yeah, it looks like for Justin, just trying to be cautious. Now, we've heard basically everyone who came on to be interviewed said that they're gunning for Shroud and Justin. Now, obviously, I think there's a little bit of professional rivalry in there, maybe a little bit professional jealousy as well. And I think that for Shroud and Justin, it's an uphill battle any way they want to go.
I think it's all about bragging rights. You know, that's the one thing you want to go back to your stream and be like, oh, yeah, did you see me kill Shroud? Make sure to clip it, post it all over the place, use the hashtags all over. So with that, I think that Shroud's going to have a little bit of work cut out for him, but I don't know. Like Desk was talking about yesterday, Shroud, Justin, they are known for just like being able to murder the world. They've got phenomenal aim coming through here. Everybody was like, oh, yeah, I want to go kill Shroud. I don't think anybody's going to be charging at Shroud, though. I think that it's going to be a little bit more hesitant in that regard.
No, it's easy to talk, isn't it? Yeah, it's easy to talk when it's like, yeah, I want to go kill Shroud. Yeah, well, you know, I want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, but I don't want to get out of bed in the morning most days. So it's going to be hard for these guys to get at Shroud and trying, you know, really at Sandhawk, it's the third party. I think the best way to get to it is going to be waiting to see where they're engaged and then kind of trying to flank.
And that's kind of the way that this usually plays out. You can see the map is now full on, predominantly pretty centered, nothing too terrible coming through here. Just predominantly the people that are down in the southern area are going to have to make their way in. See, we got Pistola Time and Drassel right on the edge of it. Wacky Jackie all the way down to the south. Got himself a little loot location, all to his lonesome.
That northern circle is going to mean that it's going to be very difficult for those on the southern side of the map to find any way up without finding another team. It looks like we have Dadak and EXL, a team that we watched all the way through the qualifiers playing very, very well, and a team that has excellent mechanical aim.
Oh, yeah. I think that inside this lobby, that's going to be one of the defining factors. So many people with such phenomenal aim, not afraid to take the fights. I mean, that's a big part of this, specifically on this map. Whenever you're dealing with duos, once you get that first down, you want to capitalize on it as quick as possible. You want to apply that pressure. But this is another one of the duos that a lot of people have been talking about. We got Holo over here with Tox. Some people call it 7 Box. It's so many different names, like they were joking about yesterday. I don't even think he knows what his name is.
I like Tox. That makes a little bit of sense to me. So Holo and Tox.
Alliteration.
They've got themselves, actually, it's the AXL team right below them. Aim and Dadak just down below them. So not sure if they've been able to spot them out just yet, but the loot phase continues here. Only 4.5 minutes through this first game.
a little bit more quiet than we've seen a lot of the Sandhawk games kind of play out. Usually somebody kind of drops down next to each other, a little bit of a fight happens, but everybody seems to manage to carve out a nice little section of the map for themselves. I think it's going to be once we get into that rotation phase that things are going to really start to kick off.
So we see Gunnar and Terran featured just before the game started. Already a little bit low on health. They might have tangled up with the team just to their north, but still trying to find themselves maybe a little bit of loot here, just trying to seek some shelter. We got Hades, his teammate there as well, Team 24. So for now, it's a little bit of a slow going here in this early game.
Oh, yeah. But if you guys haven't had a chance to check it out, Bearju Live, I absolutely love his hat. We saw him for just a second in those opening videos that we saw coming through there. Apparently, he was all set up, getting ready to compete in this event and was looking for something a little bit extra to draw attention to him. So actually picked up the hat specifically for this event to, like, make people kind of a little bit more alert. Because keep in mind, all of these guys are streaming guys. So if you see anything that awesome happens inside of any of the plays today, make sure you go hop over their Twitch stream, show them a little bit of love, give them a follow. That's kind of what this whole event is about.
So here we have, oh, I Killed Homer actually goes down at Simsy and Doom, a team we actually haven't mentioned yet. This is Ultra and Simsy, two professional level players. They've got Cavalt all by his lonesome, isolated on the tree. Simsy and Ultra looking to press, trying to find some action here. They've got him separated out, and now I think they have him pinned. This is going to be a very tough position for Cavalt to try and get out of.
He's just pinned back behind that tree, and you can see that they're separating, holding two different angles. So they're just trying to go for peaks right now, predominantly from the angle that we're looking at. The peaks are going around the right side. So this is going to allow him to go for a little bit more of a reposition. So if he gets this side flank, it's just going to be an easy shot to take down Cavalt. And you can see lines it up, nails it, and then that's a duo down and out.
Looking nice there for Simsy and Ultra. Again, two very, very high-level players securing their first duo kill here of this tournament. And now we start to see that congestion in the center zone, something we've seen time and time again, where players want to try and grab that center-based compound. They don't want to risk having to move too much, especially in the action-heavy Sandhawk. So you can see now Trilux as well as his teammate trying to take that boat run along the northern side, but for Simsy and Ultra, just trying to grab that loot, but they're on the edge of the zone. There's going to be pressure coming their way with the blue closing.
They're right on the edge, so they can get a little bit more control inside this area, maybe kind of gatekeep some people out, net some more free kills, just capitalizing off of what they just got. Naturally, we did see that Sacriel and Break are over on the far western part of the map, still sticking tried and true to TSM strategies, not necessarily afraid to make any, take their time. They're inside the blue. Who cares? They got the stims to work with. They'll just kind of play along the edge of it. This is very common for both of them if you ever see, pop into their streams. Not necessarily any rush on these early circles.
I'm hitting my, oh shit, I'm hitting my right.
Oh, but look at that. Sacriel gets dropped right out of nowhere. Because remember, we did have Shaka that was right over in the general vicinity. Now everything just comes on to Break.
So this is a very talented team. Shako and Spygia, both very, very heavily talented players. Break now very quickly by himself. Sacriel just getting eviscerated on the way through that vault, just couldn't get anything going. But for now, it's going to be up to Break to move on. And right now we have Sacriel's view of Break, who is sitting right next to him as far as I know.
A little bit of communication going back and forth. This is the point whenever you kind of take over the in-game leading strategy. If you get taken down this early inside of it, just try to provide as much information as possible. But one thing to note, this is going to be a lot of meds that are going to have to be burned through at this stage, because naturally Sacriel doesn't want to come out, doesn't want to risk going down this early inside of it, because placement is a big factor of the point systems. Naturally, kills are big inside of this event. They can really move you up a couple placements, but going down at this stage would be so bad. And here we go. You can see we got Shroud on cams trying to line up a couple of shots.
So that Car 98 in hand, looking for the big shots here. Shroud, no stranger to looking for flashy plays, and we've seen another shrink come in, centered around that river area, and we have actually Drassel and Pistola Time getting tangled up with Hollow and Tox, something that's already gone south for that team. Hollow low on health, Tox already in the down state. Drassel pushing on the exterior, Pistola Time looking to support. Hollow coming on the edge, looking to hold that angle, but really he might have missed the opportunity to res his teammate. Hollow jumping, going for it, and no dice. Pistola Time takes him down, and another duo getting eliminated.
Drassel and Pistola Time have just been so violent. They aren't afraid to take the fights, but the third-party factor coming in hard there, that's going to take down Pistola Time, capitalizing right off of that fight. So now it's just going to be dropping him down to a solo player. It's all onto Drassel at this point.
So it's one of those things we see a lot in regular play as well, and I've talked about this time and time again. After a fight, everyone seems to just want to relax, but you have to always keep in mind that people will have heard those gunshots and be running towards your location. A little bit of a misstep, and Pistola Time was punished for it.
Especially on this map. Third parties are so huge. There's so much verticality that happens just due to the hills that are all around these outside locations. So it's that moment you get the down, you're like, okay, cool, we've got that. Let's go see if we can get any loot. And then the third-party factor just kicks in sniper shots from so far away.
All right, so now we've seen this shift once again. Now, trending through the last games of yesterday, we saw a lot of players staying alive through that third circle. And on Sanhok, that means that there's nowhere to move around. And that makes the game so much more difficult. A team we've been talking about as well, Caden and Venerated. Shroud now taking fire inbound, likely from the buildings around where they're running here. It looks like that is that's a completely different team here. So we have 231 and Hong Gil. This is 231, a great Korean player, I believe, from the qualifying rounds. Excellent aim on that player.
Kind of already bunkered down at this position. If you're already inside the safe zone, you can see this tends to be happening quite frequently. Meanwhile, we've got Caden and Venerated. Look like they've got a couple of people in sights, doing a little bit of a rotation, making their way down.
Caden and Venerated. I would say that probably the two best players in North America. I'm sure there's a couple of players out there that'll feel a little bit hurt about that statement, but these guys time and time again have proven that even at the upper echelons of competitive play, they can frag out with the best.
Especially whenever you put them together.
Yeah.
Individually, they're very strong, but once you put these two together, good Lord, they can just do so much work. We saw them in the PGI North America side, actually tagging in and playing for Ghost for quite a while, played with them and managed to get them into Berlin. So now they're coming in just by themselves, back under the NV banner, full on and strong, and they just have complete and utter control over the circle next to them.
So here's Shaka, by Gia. Two very talented two talented players. Already picked themselves up an initial kill. Now running the edge of the zone, the circle closing, playing for Detonator. We watched these guys through the qualifiers as well, and they're very cerebral players. They always know how to position themselves, and they're not necessarily always super aggressive, but they do take the right fights at the right time.
Playing for the survival aspect of PUBG. We talk about it a lot. There's so many different ways to play this game. You can play a little bit more passive and kind of bide your time, or you can go get a little bit more active to try to hunt down kills.
Right, and terrible.
Okay, I'm gonna assume this is a freeze frame here, and that Caden is not actually prone in a house. So we just go ahead and we say these guys, some of the best fraggers in North America, prone in a house somewhere.
Just PUBG things. Speaking about being prone and hiding out, you can see we got a duo running right by a solo player, just off, right off to the side, and manages to spot him out and just spray him down instantly. Says no, you don't get a hide there from us.
Nice little kill there. Now looking for the teammate, rotating out, looking for more. Doesn't see if he can spot that teammate just yet.
See, already taking quite a bit of damage, already down to about half life. This is where it gets a little bit nerve-wracking. Trying to run across these open fields, as you can hear so many shots coming into effect. Meanwhile, back over here with Venerated and Caden, they do have a line of sight back over at Karma, our Call of Duty pro.
Yeah, there could still
Caden perfectly still, not wanting to move around too much. Really liking the intensity of his gaze there, showing everyone that focus that is required of professional PUBG players.
Not even looking at the screen, it looks like. Off to the side of it, taking a little bit of damage though. So now with this, you can see Yogi's in a rough spot, trying to crawl back over towards Karma. So you can see on the outside of this, Caden and Venerated not necessarily wanting to run up that hillside. Could be a little bit dangerous, so instead they're just going to play around. But that being said, 10 seconds before the circle starts to collapse in, they have to push through this area. So they're trying to decide, do they make the push directly up the hill, or do they reposition out and around? Looks like they're opting into making a little bit of a push towards the north.
So for Caden and Venerated, now they're in a situation where they have the circle at their backs. They have a little bit of a run to make. It's actually unsettling watching Caden's face like this. But,
just frozen.
Just frozen in time. But moving through this open area, they've got the guns away now. They have a little bit more of a gap to close, but we have looks like a couple of teams holding on to these buildings just on the edge of the zone. And with 53 still alive, Matchroom, the pressure is going to mount very quickly now.
That's the thing about this map. Whenever you're playing with such quality players, people manage to survive for so long. But we have the new safe zone up, just like you're talking about. So much water inside of it. That's going to make it really hard for all 50 of these players to find anywhere to hide at. So you can already see people jumping in the motorcycles, going for the reposition. This is the dangerous part. You have to try to line up so many shots, and good Lord, did you see he had almost 310 rounds?
Yeah, he's going to need them if all these players are going to stay alive. And Caden and Venerated now, they do have a flank on their side, but they do have a lot of distance
the
to
guy
cover.
that I killed,
that circle has shifted to a point now where they have to run through, and the river playing a factor as well. So a lot of players are going to be stacking up on that eastern side of the play zone. Now you can see Venerated and Caden, they're getting shot from behind. It's Ku, and he will knock them down. And looks like Caden and Venerated are going to be finished off very quickly here by the Korean players Zargon and Ku as they run through that play zone. So for Caden and Venerated, not the start they wanted.
Meanwhile, we're back over here with Shroud, right next to Lumi and Ashik, trying to get control over the top part of this. Looking back over for it, Shroud just kind of he's beat it in, you can see, trying to focus up, get a little bit of a line of sight up on here. Now, the problem whenever you're playing across the top of these hills, specifically whenever you're doing the jump, sure, it gives you a little bit more information, but the risk is the third party becomes so much more active at that point. If anybody's playing any of these locations on the outside of it, they can just line up those shots. So it's all about managing to get control, and you can see Justin lining up some beautiful shots onto this, trying to get as much damage down as they can get, but return fire starting to come back.
So now Justin just kind of holding them out on the zone. They have the zone advantage. Shroud on the low side flank. Justin getting very aggressive, pressing on this rock. Does not want to give them anything, but he's going to take some blue damage here. They do have the zone advantage. Justin getting extremely aggressive on the low side, but they're both taking circle damage. If they maybe back this off, but they do have one down already. Now Sigfet, the last man standing in the back line, just trying to finish him off and stay safe. But again, that time ticks so quickly now, 50 seconds before the next circle begins to shrink, and they have some time to travel, and there's one kill, one finish there for Shroud, and still one left standing.
So now kind of retreating back over, getting a little bit more information now, patiently waiting on it. You can see that getting a lot of tick damage from the blue at this point, slowly beating down on Ko on the outside of this. But just like you're talking about, we're playing with a little bit more of a competitive circle rules, so these circles update real fast, and they also start to tick for more and more damage. So they're just trying to get up, get a little bit more life before they go back on this retreat, because they only have 15 seconds now.
Yeah, they're stuck at the edge. They're still 45 alive. This is going to be a long run through a very populated area. They have buildings to their south, buildings to their north, and they're going to have to outrun this team as well as the circle. And we've seen this issue on Sanhok time and time again, where players get tunnel vision and get stuck in fights. And now we have Ultra going head-to-head with Skipino.
Ultra Razor caught out inside the blue right now. Skipino's down on the outside on those rocks, but we've got teammate Pava already down as well. The problem with it is Ultra Razor has to get done with this fight as quick as possible and then try to figure out some way to cross this river. So a lot of exchanges going back and forth at the time. But you can see Ultra Razor's just trying to find some type of angle. Meanwhile, Skipino's just trying to retreat out of the fight. Pava's slowly ticking down on life. I don't think that he's in a safe res location at all, so he's probably just going to bleed out at this point. Meanwhile, we're back over here with Zintrix and Ablazin already holding down a nice safe location.
Assen, no talk, running through the south. They actually did get it down there. A bonus from 2-3-1 a little bit further away. Shroud, again, firing away with that Kar 98. Not quite in the zone just yet, but they need to get through this team ahead of them to try and get that zone. So it's going to be Hades, and now it's actually Justin that's, or Hades fighting with Justin and Shroud here on the northern side. Again, trying to get the zone. This is going to be an uphill fight literally for Shroud and Justin. And the flash comes out.
That was a beautiful flash to catch him right on transition, but can't capitalize off of it. You can see Shroud and Justin not taking too much damage off of that. Do manage to make it to the rock, so a little bit more cover, but they need to move up about another 10 meters, and that's going to be right where Hades and Bear G Live are at. Nades are starting to come down, but they're rolling far too far down the hillside. So with this, Shroud, Justin lined up right next to each other. Shots are starting to go back and forth. You can see Justin taking a lot of damage on that push.
So Shroud now low on health. Justin on the high side flank looking for a little bit. The 4-time spray comes out. Shroud is downed. And now it looks like 2-3-1 also getting involved. The third party from a longer distance coming in from behind. Justin trying to figure out if they want to res, but KO's going for it. He's right on top of Justin. He has a bit of a flank set up here, but nothing trapped just yet. KO's right on the other side of this rock. Justin hanging on to life. Shroud still crawling around trying to get information. He's lost his helmet, and now the res begins.
All right, so with that, you can see KO is right down in that low position, still outside the blue. Finally, we do see X going to be Shroud, and Justin do get taken out at that point. Spreezy and Wacky Jackie now we're popping off over with. Outside in the blue, and look at how much damage they're taking. They still have about another 100 meters to go. This is just going to be chain medding as they try to make their way across this. Got a line of sight on somebody out in front of them.
Yeah, they have to wait and just try and get closer to the zone, but here comes the spray from Wacky Jackie. Nice, takes down the Cobra, and now he's looking for more, looking to the right side. Has not spotted the teammate just yet, but that zone continues to tick, tick, tick away.
All right, now we've got the darkness posted up right next to Felix going through there. Wacky Jackie does look like he's going to make it inside the safe zone. Meanwhile, we've got Fozu. Hades still holding that high ground position, taking a lot of damage from people in the low ground. He's going to have to be a little bit more careful with it.
Just making the zone now is Wacky Jackie, but the circle again starting to move, and now it does a lot more damage. He has to run ahead of the circle and try and get that med off, but he is in a very tough spot. This hill is a very complex area. Teams crawling around all over the place now, down to 22 alive.
And you can see they're trying to do that push around the outside of the blue zone, going down to that thinnest part of the circle, trying to figure out if they can clutch down, kind of create a little bit of a gap there. The problem with it is a lot of people like to play in a similar strategy, so there could be people approaching from multiple angles now. Meanwhile, we're back over here next to the river. As you can see, Shock is having to do the swim across the side, but we've already got Troll that's holding down that other location. Meanwhile,
hey,
Break's still alive.
Break the Snake, doing a good job. Found himself the zone, found himself a top 20 position so far. And he's just trying to salvage a round that started poorly for them, but Break in a tough spot on the beach next to the boat. All these gunshots going off around him. And for Break, he's just going to throw down a smoke, try and stay covered, and try and maybe pick up a couple of kills here. Lots of solos on the field.
Got himself a pretty decent location. Now he's just got to be aware there could be some swimmers that are coming back behind him. Down to 18 people alive at this stage. So a lot of people already holding down different parts of the buildings that are inside the safe zone, but new circle does pop right out in the middle of a field. So that means everybody's going to have to make their way into it.
I'm actually really liking the position of Spreezy and Wacky Jackie, who have the outside of the circle, but have the ability to push the gap. They don't have a lot of people behind them. I think it's just KO by himself. I'm not sure if he still has his teammate, but Break, again, just kind of holding on to this beachhead, trying to see if there's any movement around these trees. He now does not have the zone. He's going to have to push this gap, and the first thing he's going to do is try and make his own little red zone.
With this, we come over here, we can see Wacky Jackie does get line of sight on KO, instantly drops them. Meanwhile, Wacky Jackie trying to line up the shots, gets down stereo online over there. With this, Break had to hear that. He had to hear those shots go off, makes him a little bit more nervous, kind of scanning that outside horizon.
Top 10 now for Break, doing very well to get his team a decent position, but now faced with an open field run. This is where it's going to be all about aim and reaction time for Break, a very talented player. He's got a little bit of movement looking at that beach. Right behind him, he jumps around the tree, nice positioning, leans out, and actually gets instantly downed by PNDS, and that is going to be it for Break. However, a nice finish for a game that looked like it was going to be over very, very soon.
So with this, we've got 5 teams still active at the direct point. Slow encroachments. Everybody's trying to make their way out and around these little building complexes. You had to assume that there were multiple people inside here. You can see that the rocks are off to the right side, but I don't believe that they're inside the safe zone. So it's going to be a matter of just kind of bouncing along, slow creeping at this point, knowing that somebody could be exiting this building right next to him at any given moment. But actually, all by his, might be by his lonesome at the time. I think that we have Wacky Jack that's around the northern part. That's going to be one of the few remaining duos we have at the direct time.
Centered up now, so there's going to be a lot of space to move around, but it's all in open fields. All these buildings now coming out of the playable area. Zuyong dealing with Ablazin and Zentrix, who are just outside his position. He can hear these shots, and that's going to be a situation where they want to, you know, just kind of hold this spot, I think, until the circle starts to move. But Spreezy and Wacky Jackie have the open position. They have a lot of flexibility, a lot of vision, and all these teams coming out of these buildings are going to do a lot of damage to each other. So this is looking very, very good for Spreezy and Jackie.
They can capitalize off of everybody having to extricate out of those buildings. You can see they're already trying to get a dominant control position, playing around the rocks. They've been listening in for the cues. They know exactly how everybody's going to be approaching on them. Really, it's just going to be PNDs that might have to make a little bit of a sneaky play off the side of it. Ablazin, Zentrix, they're going to have to run and gun. They're throwing down the smokes now, trying to provide some form of cover, but that's just going to let Wacky Jackie and Spreezy know exactly where to beat into. So they're just trying to focus up, but it's going to be an outside third party spraying into it, getting the down onto Zentrix.
So nice spray into the smoke, and now it's going to be about can he rotate around and get to the teammate as well. The nades come out. PNDS actually crawling around on the outside, and that's going to be that duo finished off by Oko, who's now very low on health, and he's going to be immediately third-partied and taken down. As far as I can tell, we'll see if that is actually confirmed here. Oko actually went back in time just a little bit here as Oko finishes off that fight. So we'll see if Wacky was able to finish him off himself. And we'll get that confirmation here shortly, but it looks like, actually, no, Oko was able to survive PNDS also going down, or at least he's actually full right on top of him. Wacky Jackie has no idea they're right behind him. He's got full health matchup. He's in the bush behind him, and now he jumps up and grabs Spreezy. Will Wacky be able to react? And he will be able to, the solo being finished off.
See, this is the moment coming in from Wacky Jackie's view. Sprints back over there, gets the down and kill onto it, dropping us down into a 1v1 at the time. So it's going to be a couple of shots back and forth. It's going to be Oko on one side of it. Wacky Jackie's on the other side of the tree.
Low health.
Sohn has popped up now. It's going to be right smack dab in the middle between them. Wacky Jackie getting up a little bit more health. We're caught up into a little bit of a peak battle, back and forth at this point. Wacky Jackie knows he's going to have to move forward just a little bit. He does have another tree directly in front of him, but it's going to be so dangerous to make that push off to the side of it. So he's just waiting, trying to bide his time, going for that peak shot. He wants to get the down, wants to get the kill. Caught in the 1v1 at the time. Smokes are now coming out by a little bit, but Oko's gone for a reposition onto the side of it.
So it looks like Oko actually has the advantage of the circle. Wacky's going to use the smoke that's already already down to flank on the right-hand side. This is a good move by Wacky Jackie. He's got the angle now. He has the circle, but now it's about that aim. Will he be able to land those shots? Oko spots him across the rock. Wacky Jackie having to react to what he sees. And now here comes some shots. He's inside the smoke, kind of holding the angle. Takes a little bit of circle damage. That might be problematic. Wacky Jackie goes down, and Oko will finish it off. And that was very narrowly a victory for Oko, but Wacky Jackie held it strong. But all goes to Oko for game number 1 and the victory.
Just, you can see the blue was forcing at his back, trying to get that angle over there, and just quite couldn't pull it off. So close for Wacky Jackie though, but gotta give the kudos. Oko, phenomenal play, making sure to hold that area right next to those buildings, getting kill after kill to survive.
Gotta say, Wacky Jackie and Spreezy played very well. They managed to position themselves in a way that they could kind of hold that open